Hello good people, this is Fisher12 back with another exciting video for you guys today. As always, it is Tuesday night. We have a lot to discuss, including Shane McMahon in the US title scene, Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton in a repeat match, another episode of the Fashion Peaks, and much more. So, you know what time it is. Let's talk SmackDown. So this episode of SmackDown, also in Toronto, started off with a John Cena promo, and in my opinion, I thought this was sort of lackluster in terms of John Cena promos go, but the whole thing, I guess, was for Baron Corbin to come out. And what was interesting, well, first off, they replaced his music. He has new music now, and I don't know why they replaced his very recognizable music with this, like, generic rock and roll theme. That seems to be the deal when everyone gets new music. They get this generic rock and roll theme, or not even rock and roll, this generic just, like, 3-chord guitar song, and then they get some actual theme later down the line. But Baron Corbin got new music. It's not that good. And Baron Corbin just can't seem to catch a break. On Twitter, he goes and he picks fights and he gets owned, and then he comes out tonight and gets owned by Cena. And the whole point of this was to set up their match for SummerSlam. But what was interesting is Baron Corbin, or not interesting really, what was lame is that Baron Corbin came out, was like, John Cena, you're not worth my time. And that's why I came out here to let you know I'm leaving now. It's like, you came out to tell John Cena that he's not worth your time? It sounds like he is worth your time if you're taking the time to come out and tell him that. So it just didn't make any sense. But like I said, it's just really to set up their SummerSlam match. And then we had the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Ty Dillinger in a #1 contenders match for the Tag Team Championship. And you always know that a makeshift tag team is going to do extremely well in a #1 contenders match. That's for sure. It felt like, too, a majority of this match, I'd say at least 80-85% of this match, happened during a commercial break, which is disappointing. And again, with the Usos, I'm going to call them out every single time they do this blind tag and the referee does nothing about it. It's like, if the guy's in the ring and he only has 5 seconds to be in the ring, then the guy outside the ring also has 5 seconds. And if you're not going to count it, then why have rules at all, you know? It doesn't make any sense. I hate that that's how they book every single Uso match, a blind tag that no one sees, and then, like, 30 seconds later, the actual person in the match jumps in and gets the pinfall. And while we're talking about things that are clearly frustrating, the way that they book Ty Dillinger, they are going to turn him into the male version of Bayley. He is so over. He's 100% over without any help whatsoever. People love Channing 10, and instead they make him a total loser each week on SmackDown. I don't get it. He's going to end up like Bayley, like I said, getting booed. But next we had another episode of the Fashion Peaks, and this episode not nearly as good as the last one. Fandango just randomly showed up. I guess he was captured by aliens, or that's what he said. But we found out who killed his horse Tully, and it was Arn Anderson, because the horse's name was Tully. And he thought that he was the better man in the Four Horsemen, so he killed Fandango's horse named Tully because of Tully Blanchard. I guess that was kind of funny. But it is to be continued, so we're not over with the Fashion Police yet. I guess, I don't know what the next story is. Before who attacked Fandango, it was who destroyed their office, so maybe they'll go back to that. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Then we had the first of 2 women's matches tonight. We had Charlotte versus Lana, and I don't even know what the point of this match was. It was just awful. Charlotte was dominating the entire time, just putting on a clinic, just having fun. I'd say that's the only redeeming thing about this match, is that Charlotte was definitely enjoying herself. And anytime a wrestler is enjoying themselves in the ring and it shows, it just makes for a more enjoyable experience. But, like, I like to give wrestlers the benefit of the doubt sometimes, at least in terms of in-ring ability. Like, you know, you shouldn't base off their skill from what you see on TV. But I could not believe how badly Lana was selling the figure 4 leg lock. It was like she sold it the same way before Charlotte locked it in. She sold it the same way when Charlotte was locking it in. And she sold it the same way when Charlotte locked it in. And it's like, you gotta do something different other than just like reach up towards your legs and then tap out. Then the show ramped up a bit with the U.S. title segment. We had Shane O'Mac come out and introduce the 2 participants. And I guess the whole point of this was really just to talk. I'm not really sure. But I love this segment overall. I thought it was great heel work from Kevin Owens. You know, the whole one McMahon screwed over one legendary wrestler or one legendary Canadian wrestler. And then jumping back in with the he deserved it, but I don't. It was just excellent. And then I loved the throwback clip from Survivor Series 98 and the shout out to the WWE Network. Like, Kevin Owens is just great, man. I love watching him. I enjoy him so much. But I think the story that they're trying to tell here is that Shane is going to have a reason to not call it down the line, or I think ultimately he will. This week AJ attacked him, but I'm predicting that Kevin Owens is going to hit him next week, so to sort of counter that out, and they'll do this whole 50-50 booking, and then when we come to SummerSlam, it will eventually get called right down the line, or some screw job type thing is going to happen and cost Kevin Owens the match, I think. So I think that's all what it's accumulating to, but we'll have to wait and see. And then we had our second women's match, Carmella versus Naomi. And I wouldn't say necessarily this was a bad match, but I just wasn't a fan of this match. I mean, the whole reason of this match was really just to introduce the big hog being back. But I was watching the replay. He didn't even touch Naomi when she was jumping off the ropes, which it's unbelievable. Like, between that and the ref falling down without getting hit, it's like, how hard is it to, like, act? You know, how hard is it? It can't be that difficult. But I definitely felt like the segment they had with Natalya afterwards was some sort of foreshadowing, with Natalya being all defensive like, you better not interfere in my match. This match is for me, and it is my time to shine and win the championship. And then you had James Ellsworth and Carmella sort of nonchalantly, sort of half being sarcastic, being like, oh yeah, no, we're not going to interfere. I'm not messing with that. I got money in the bank. I don't need that. Like, I think that's a pretty good chance that we're going to see a cash in from Carmella on SummerSlam. And then we had our repeat match for the main event. You always got to have one repeat match per show. Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal. And the only interesting thing about this match was that the crowd was booing Randy Orton because Jinder is from Canada. So for once, it was nice to see just a situation where Jinder Mahal is not playing the heel and is like, you people don't like me because I look different and I sound different, even though that's not really the case because the majority of people aren't racist nowadays. But the finish booking was just ridiculously awful. I don't understand why you would give a clean win over the WWE champion when there's 2 weeks before SummerSlam. He's supposed to be having a main event type match with Shinsuke Nakamura, and here he is losing cleanly to Randy Orton 2 weeks out in a non-title match. Like, it was obvious that the reason why they wanted to do this is so that Randy Orton's victorious, and then he walks back, and then he gets beaten up by Rusev. But why couldn't you have just done something where Rusev costs him the match, you do a normal stereotypical heel booking, you get him the win, the crowd's happy because Jinder won, and you still advance the Randy Orton-Rusev feud because Rusev had some sort of attacking or interference on Randy Orton. It's like, why would you book to bury the WWE champion? I don't get it. It just didn't make any sense to me. Now, overall, I thought this was a bad episode of SmackDown. The best segment was the U.S. title segment, and it's sort of getting, not frustrating, but it's getting tiring, I guess is a better word, that the most exciting or the most looked forward to segment on SmackDown, or the thing that's most exciting about the SmackDown brand, is supposed to be the mid-card level title. So there wasn't really just anything to be excited about in this episode of SmackDown, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think, so let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Did you like this episode of SmackDown? Did you dislike it like myself? let me know down below. And that is unfortunately going to bring us to the end of today's video. So if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and click on that subscribe button. But other than that, guys, enjoy the rest of your day and take care.